How's it going, YouTube? Today I'm doing a review of a Ultimate Works Count Dooku lightsaber hilt. I came across it from a custom installer on Etsy, and today I'm going to give a little bit of history about the saber, and a full review and my thoughts and opinions on Ultimate Works. Hilt. I'm gonna give a rundown of how I feel about the Etsy seller who did the install and stuff like that. So, for those who are familiar in the lightsaber community, or even just those who are getting into it with collecting them and installs and stuff like that, you'll come to find, if you haven't already, that the curved Count Dooku lightsaber from Attack of the Clones: Revenge of the Sith is insanely rare. It is my unicorn. The chances of finding one for a reasonable price is near zero. And what's even worse is finding a 1-to-1 sized replica that's the actual proportions is even rarer. I believe if you want Master Replicas Count Dooku, which is a 1-to-1 scale and completely authentic in its look and everything, it'll run you between $200 and $3,500. They're insanely expensive, and when sabersmiths do runs of these, they're very limited. Because they're just tricky to make, and it's a very slim hilt. The design. How do you make a design like that with a blade and electronics and such like that with it being curved the way it is? Master Replicas did a Force FX version that was just ungodly big. It was, for those who have never seen the Count Dooku Master Replicas Force FX one. I'm sure most of you have seen the Black Series Kylo Ren lightsaber and how you couldn't even wrap your hand around it. That's how thick the Count Dooku Master Replicas one. It was just unwieldy. Corbanth, I believe it was Corbanth, did a Duke a few years ago. I missed out on that run. I'm sad to say. I think I was in high school at the time. It's been that long. It's been like 5 or 6 years. And so I missed out on that. Couldn't get my hands on Master Replicas. I couldn't find anyone online who did custom Count Dookus for the past 5 years. And I've spent a good chunk of 15 years just trying to get the saber in some capacity. I've been wanting this, ever since I was a kid. Finally, I heard about Ultimate Works. They're doing a run. I'm seeing saber reviewers like Shamim and the like doing reviews of them. And then I'm watching the reviews and thinking, oh, wow, I should really get that. And then every single one of the reviews, they're stating they only did a run of, I believe, 100, and it sold out in like an hour. I'm thinking, okay, missed out my chance. And then I saw the price for the saber, and I'm like, oh, I couldn't afford it anyway. So fast forward to this past summer, and I'm looking to buy a lightsaber. By this point in time, I had recently bought 2 lightsabers. Neither one of them from Sabersmiths. They're both the Black Series. One being the A New Hope Luke Skywalker Graflex one, which was all right. But then I bought the Black Series Darth Vader, and I thought, wow. And so it really piqued my interest back again, and I started looking again for sabers. And I'm just scrolling through Etsy. I'm not looking for a Count Dooku specifically. I'm just looking at the different sabers. I was really actually looking for an Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 4 hilt. That's the saber I was intending to buy when I ran across this. So I run across this Etsy page. It's ran by a man named Sean, and he has an Etsy site called Rogue Arsenal. And he has Ultimate Works Count Dookus. I believe at the time I bought mine, he had 7 of them. I don't know how he got them, but he has them. And for the empty hilt with no electronics, it was $4 something. And I'm thinking, okay, I can't afford that right now because at this time I only had a few months left in the military. I was in the process of being medically retired out. I was trying to get my finances in order, trying to save money and stuff like that. But I didn't want to miss out on this. So I hit him up and like, is there any way? I want the empty hilt really bad, but I'm transitioning out of the Army. I can't really afford that. Are you willing to work with me? Is there a payment plan you're willing to do? Can I make like 2 payments of like $200 something each and get this? I really want this. And then he goes, well, I'll do you one better. I will do a full custom install, and you can just pay off whatever you can pay each month until it's paid off, and then I'll send it out to you. And I'll give you, he discounted it for my military as well. And I didn't even ask for that. I didn't ask for any of that. And I was like, wow. Customer service, dealing with him is fantastic. I will be leaving a link down below for his Etsy page. He has a few Count Dooku sabers left. He has some Corbanff K4 sabers. He has a couple Graflex sabers. He sells blade gloves, a few other miscellaneous things. He doesn't make actual like saber hilts, but he does internal stuff and accessories, stuff like that. I was also, however, while thrilled, very, very hesitant. I have never bought a custom saber before. I've never bought anything that wasn't officially licensed before. So I was very nervous. And this was my first time buying off of Etsy. So I was like, oh God, am I going to be scammed? How does this work? But I was like, okay, made the first few payments. This was back in, I think, July or the beginning of August. Fast forward to the last week of November, right before Thanksgiving. I made the final payment, and he's like, great, your saber's already built. I am out of the country right now. I'll send it in a week when I get home. I'm thinking, oh, okay, great. And I had my saber a week and a half later. And it was professionally wrapped, everything like that. Very, it was a very timely shipping. So I actually had it 3 days from when he told me he sent it. So he sent a priority mail, everything like that. So getting to the actual saber itself, you have the Ultimate Works box here, which is filled with protective foam, and then more protective foam. This is actually great to have this for if you're moving or anything like that. You can store this in a safe way. Pulling out the saber itself. It's very nice. Very shiny up here. This feels and looks like stainless steel that's been mirror polished. I want to say that's what it is. I'm not exactly sure. But it's incredibly shiny where it needs to be, and then dull where it needs to be, which is accurate to the film. And that's what really drew me to this was accuracy. Because at the same time of me finding this, I also came across Saberforge's Etsy, and they had ads for their new count that had just came out. But theirs isn't one-to-one. I can tell just by looking at the pictures, it's thicker. It's not as thick as the Master Replicas, but it's not one-to-one scale. So I settled on getting this, which was a risk because I was settling on buying a saber from someone who, as far as I'm aware, is relatively unknown in the saber community. But I couldn't be happier when I got. It's heavy. It's insanely heavy. I would say 2.5, 3 pounds. This thing has a great deal of heft to it, predominantly in the pommel speaker section. You can really feel the weight, and then it gets heavier up here. It's ridiculously heavy. But I'm that minority person in the saber community who likes heavier hilts. And that comes from, if you've ever heard reviews of Mark Hamill and George Lucas and Bob Anderson from the prequel trilogy, they always said that, the sabers are so heavy, you can't take a hand off. They're supposed to be like Excalibur. And so the fact that this is really uber heavy is going to turn a lot of people off from it. I personally love it. It feels so real. These black sections, all of these black sections are actually rubber, and they feel so nice in the hand. I understand some people complain that the rubber comes peeling and stuff. If they come peeling, just glue them back down. I've been messing with this thing for a few days now, and they're not peeling at all on me. This is probably as accurate to the film as you can get. There's only 3 inaccuracies with this, excluding screw holes and speaker holes, because that's just a necessity if you have electronics installed. But in terms of film accuracy, things that are different that are very minor. There's only 3 things. These little gold buttons. And the films, they're like little gold screws. They're much smaller and stuff. I think these buttons look so nice. And these are actually the activation and auxiliary buttons, which is clever to have them down here. I've seen some people do it up here, but I like having them down here. Another inaccuracy, if you're one of those purists out there who have to have it 100% accurate to the film, that's one of the inaccuracies. The second inaccuracy is this claw. This claw is flush with the blade. The blade will be aligned with it. Whereas in the film, it kind of angles down, and it's kind of off angle to the blade. I personally like the change. I like that it's more to the blade. I know some people are strict purists out there. Little changes like that really bother some. And then the final change, which I am bothered by, is this blue red button, which is in the film clear, round, smooth, sleek. This is very angular, very bulky, but that's such a minor thing that doesn't bother me at all. The kill key and recharge port are cleverly hidden inside the Covertech wheel. This is the kill key, right there on the Covertech wheel. So there, you don't have to take the saber apart. There's no obtrusive kill key, nothing like that. Also, another thing with the Ultimate Works, there's always like a little, the blade retention would just stick out about half an inch. Sean at Rogue Arsenal actually has the electronic stuff set in such a way to where that's actually all smooth. There's nothing sticking out, which is accurate to the film. So that kudos on his part for doing that. Now turn it on. Pull the kill key out. I love that startup sound. I think that's the first time I've ever heard that startup sound. And I didn't even ask for that. I asked for something else, and so much time had passed, he had forgot what I had asked for and put that down. I had originally asked for Count Dooku saying, "Oh, as you see, my Jedi powers are far beyond yours," when he's taunting Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones. That was my very first message to him. And as I said, this process took a few months. And I only mentioned it that one time. So he completely forgot about it and put that in there. And I've never heard that particular startup sound on any review online. It's always been a Count Dooku quote. I just think it's really cool how you hear Palpatine, from Revenge of the Sith, go Count Dooku, and you hear the marching of battle droids. So, cool little change there. This other button opposite the Covertech wheel is your ignition. Very, very bright. I'm in daylight, and even though I don't have a blade to test, you can just see. And then these buttons are arranged in such a way that all I gotta do is put my palm down on it. That's all. You don't have to move your fingers down there. You just palm. Which makes it really just easy. You don't have to ever put your hand down here. You're never going to worry about accidentally activating this, because most people are going to hold it up here in the middle section. Overall, Ultimate Works created a perfect, I would say near perfect, minus the little red button here, hilt. And then Sean at Rogue Arsenal did a wonderful install job. Great customer service. If you are looking for a Count Dooku lightsaber and you just can't find one, get one from him. He still has a few, I believe. They're not obscenely priced. and yeah, you won't regret it. It's just an overall fantastic hilt. Um, and as I said, for saber collectors out there, this hilt is that unicorn out there. You're never gonna find this for a reasonable price. Or if you do find a reasonable price for one, it's going to be a lesser quality, or it's not going to be the right size. So you're going to be settling for something. And this is a saber you really should have to settle for. And just look at the size of the 1-to-1 scale. I can get my hand comfortably around this at every possible point. It's a very insanely slim saber. That being said, this is not a dueling saber. I would recommend light dueling and cosplay, and maybe having a blade in there just to flash around. I would not recommend medium or heavy dueling with this at all. First of all, the blade socket isn't very deep. It can't be because of the curve. Not only that, but it only holds a 1/7 inch blade. We all know those aren't very practical for dueling with. They will break. Not easily, but they will break. This thing is not meant for heavy dueling. Not only that, but the sheer weight of it, you would end up breaking your wrist probably swinging this thing around. If you're doing medium heavy dueling with it anyway. So dueling wise, wouldn't really hold up. It would hold up as a cosplay piece, display piece, and a light dueling, like stunt dueling type thing. I would recommend. So overall, I look forward to doing more reviews as I get more sabers in the future, and I hope you all enjoy the video. Take care.